he can't be doing that kind of stuff. And she's just saying, well, she just turned a blind eye to it because it was her son. He kept trying to get into a physical fight with me, or he would go out and get drunk and then try to start a fight with me. Well, I'm not really a fighter. But it came to a head one night when he came at me and Carolyn tried to get in the way, and he pushed Carolyn out of the way. And really for the first time in my life, I stood up and I got him in a chokehold and I choked him out. I don't know how I did it. Well, actually I do, because the guys at work were I was telling them what was going on in my life, and they told me what to do. And all of a sudden it actually worked. They said, if you got to take a few hits, just take a few, but get him in a chokehold and don't let go until you hear him gurgling. That's what I did. And then after that, he left the house, and the house still wasn't, our relationship was really horrible then, Carolyn and I. And she decided, her sister lived in Corpus, but had moved to Tyler. And Carolyn said that she was going to Tyler and that I wasn't welcome there. And that if I wanted to move there, I could go, but I'd have to live on my own, a place of my own. And I just told her, forget that, I'm going back to Killeen. And that was 2013. So in 2013, Carolyn moves up there. We move out of our house. We sold it last year. And that's a big story too. I don't have time for that. I moved back to Killeen, started working with my dad again. And my brother. My brother's actually running the company, but my brother and I have never had a good relationship. Because he's a lot like my mother, all the bad parts of her. And my mother was very creative. She was a good interior designer. She was, like I said, she could really do some creative stuff, but she was kind of stubborn. I'm a little bit like her too, but not as bad as my brother. Anyway, we started working together, but I really couldn't stand my brother. I was still depressed from my mother's death. Even 5 years later, I hadn't gotten over it because I had a lot of guilt there, not having any kind of relationship with her, never talking to her. I had a little doubt whether she loved me. For the longest time, did my mother know how much she meant to me? And that just haunted me. I just couldn't let go of that stuff in the past. So I'm working with my dad and them, and I really can't stand it. I'm getting stoned every day, stealing pills from my dad's girlfriend. I was just trying to numb the pain. Wasn't doing my work. Couldn't work with my brother. My brother's a control freak also. Everything has to go through him. Every decision had to be made, had to be through him. He'd tell me to do something, and then he'd do it right because he didn't think he would do it right behind my back because he didn't think I was going to do it right. So, which may or may not have been true anyway. They fired me on October 14th or October 5th of last year, and I was already depressed. So now I don't have a job. I'm living in an apartment my dad's providing me again. My wife is in New Chapel Hill. Our relationship we don't really have one. And I just kept staying in my apartment every day. I'm also at this time collecting unemployment, which I'd also been collecting unemployment the whole time I was employed with my dad. So that came to bite me in the butt not too long ago. And I'm just sitting in my apartment every day just getting stoned. Or I did drink a little bit, but that's never been my thing. But I started thinking about killing myself. I had a pistol, my grandfather's pistol, and there were several nights where I unloaded it because I was afraid I was going to shoot myself. But then the only thing that kept me alive was knowing that I couldn't leave my son like that. I just couldn't leave Jacob. By this time he's 15, and I just couldn't do it. But I just couldn't find a job, didn't want to find a job. Finally, my dad comes over and says that he's going to kick me out of the apartment, which was later October, or I'm sorry, into November. At the end of October, though, let me go back. So I'm just wallowing in my depression here. Sometime in October, I think it was around Halloween, after one of those nights where I was thinking about killing myself, I unloaded the gun, I hid it somewhere, and I just, I got down on my knees and I said, look, God, I can't do this anymore. I just can't do this anymore. I don't know what you have planned for me. Whatever it is, I want it to be your will. I just can't keep doing this. So I said that prayer, went to bed. I'm still wallowing in my depression. About a month later, about November 24th, my dad comes over and says, I got to get out of the apartment. And, or actually the week before that, 21st, says, I got to get out of the apartment. So I had nowhere to go. I didn't do anything. I just sat in the apartment and kept smoking pot. Then all of a sudden my wife shows up on the 24th of November, and she tells me that we're going to have a meeting with my dad. I didn't really know what it was about, but my wife kind of tells me it's an intervention. So we go over and talk to my dad. And Carolyn keeps telling my dad that my problem is not marijuana, which my dad thinks all my problems are marijuana. He thinks that's what my problem is, which that was just a symptom of it. But my dad had built a house for a guy whose son had gone through Oak Ridge. And while I'm sitting there, they offer me a chance to go to Oak Ridge. They call up Joshua, but Joshua didn't have a bed available for me. And they said, will you be willing to go to Conroe? And so I was sitting there thinking, I don't really care where I go. I just got to have help. I was down as low as I could go. And actually, I think this has been a lot better for me. I don't think I could have made it if it had been closer to home. This place changed my life. I found out that I never talked to God. All through those years, all through my drugs, never talked to God. Now I'm talking to Him. I hear Him answering. I still don't know what His plan is for me. Whatever it is, I know it's going to be good. I think He's restoring my marriage, which that's something I've been praying for a whole lot. Veronica and Becky know, because that's what every time I come up here, that's what I ask for.
I was about to say, I thought her name was Caroline.
I'm not playing the field anymore.
Okay.
But at least Carolyn didn't divorce me, and Carolyn actually dropped me off here.
Amen.
So
Amen.
that's a sign from God. I really don't know what the future has for me. I'm going to be living here in the transition house because I can't go back home. Yeah, I went back home actually last weekend. I'll just tell you that. My family reunion's always on Memorial Day. My brother wouldn't even talk to me the whole time. We spent 3 days together at my dad's house and at the family reunion itself, and so and I was okay with that. I wasn't okay. I mean, there was nothing I could do. I can't change him. I can't expect him to look at me and think I am changed. And it's the same thing Carolyn told me when I was, she said, just because you've been in that house for 6 months doesn't mean, you're all fixed, which I never, and that's what I told her. I said, I have no expectations. I just have hopes and desires.
Yeah.
And I want to be a good husband, and I want to be a good father. And I hope God grants me those wishes.
Yes.
Thank you.
Amen.